Konami Studios. Iron Fist, Heart of the Dragon. Finally, we have the return of a Danny Rand Iron Fist book in Marvel Comics. He finally has his own title again. I'm beyond excited. Iron Fist is one of my favorite characters. I think out of a lot of the characters in the Marvel Universe, he's one I've connected to and related to more than most. I think he's really interesting and unique, and I'm so excited he has a book again. This premise sounded awesome when they pitched it. Larry Hama, who in my opinion is a very underrated writer for Marvel and comic books in general. He is leading the charge on this book. David Wachter is doing the art. I'm very excited to see what this is going to be, and man, did it live up to my hype. So we open up this book. We are in Manhattan. Danny Rand's got kind of a new costume. It's very classic, very modern inspired. We got the big collar back. The dragon tattoo bleeds into the dragon on his shirt, and I'm like, that is such a brilliant idea and design. So he's talking to Luke like, okay, I'm going to go, there's something happening in the cities of heaven. I'm going to go with Fooh to check them out. Thanks for babysitting, Luke. Watch Pei and the Dragon. And I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about Pei for a second there. So those of you who don't know, there was a book that came out a little ago called Iron Fist, the Living Weapon, where he met another woman, or a child pretty much, that had the power of the Iron Fist, and her name was Pei. And she was kind of just like adopted by Danny to be like his legacy, pretty much. Everyone's got a legacy. Danny's got one now too, and it's Pei, and she's pretty cool. So we see that Luke Cage is babysitting. Danny's going to go to the basement to go work with Fooh, and Foe's like this weird dwarfish little guy who's like, he's kind of like your spiritual advisor going through all these different realms. So they're opening up this portal to go to the place called the Undercity, which is one of these cities of heaven. And that itself is a whole other thing in the Immortal Iron Fist storyline, the 7 capitals of heaven, 7 cities of heaven. Go read that book. So far, we're a couple pages in, and Larry Hama has referenced so much stuff that we've seen in previous Iron Fist lore. I'm like, this is great. So Danny and Fooh go to the city of the Undercity, and when they get there, it's being attacked by these zombie creatures, and they're like, oh, what's going on? They're kind of like these mindless undead creatures riding horses that are attacking them. We get some great fight scenes with Danny just breaking the horse's head and just kicking them all down. It looks really good, and you see that Fooh struggling to like get out his weapon to help attack, but Danny's taking them all down. The artwork looks great in this. It reminds me of the current Shang-Chi book going on, just that old school style of Kung Fu, but this one's a little more spiritual and kind of like more epic in the sense of the characters. I think it looks really cool. So you get some comedy there. You know, Fooh gets out his axe, all the foes are defeated, and they see Dog Brother, who is one of the kind of like leaders of this Undercity, and he's like, well, things are going bad everywhere. We have to protect our dragon. For some reason, the dragons are being attacked. We got to figure out what that is. But it's not just our city that's falling. It's all the other cities of heaven are being attacked. So we got to figure out what that is. You know, so Danny's like, what do you need me to do? So you go to the Citadel of the Ancients, and you got to protect the dragon before something happens, because they are the key to all of this. So Danny and Fooh are headed towards the Citadel of the Ancients, and they're like, oh, look at this spike trap there. Little spikes pointed out with snakes in below them. You got to cross the planks. You're like, that's pretty fun. Classic stuff there. Some more comedy with the character of Fooh, as he's like, I'm just going to rest in the middle of these planks and catch my breath. So Danny goes into the Citadel, and he sees Taskmaster has killed the dragon and ripped out its heart. And you're like, that's really dark. So Taskmaster's in this book too? Okay. You got me more interested now. I'm on board for it. So we see that he cuts out the heart, he's putting it in a box, and now they're about to fight, and Danny kind of gets his ass kicked a little bit. They start fighting on the planks. They're fighting down. Danny's about to fall into like the pit of snakes, but he stops himself with like a full body split, and I'm like, that's cool. That's the stuff I like from Danny, just like the quick thinking and stuff like that. And you see that Taskmaster was hired by someone to procure the dragon hearts, and his like employer is like, he'll pay extra if I kill the Iron Fist. So that looks like what I'm about to do. So they get into a fight, and some more comedy with Fooh, where he's about to like hit Taskmaster in the head, but he misses and stabs right into one of the planks. And I think it's fun. Fooh is a character that could easily become annoying, but so far he's been okay, and I don't hate it. So Taskmaster does escape, but Danny's like, there's more dragons we got to go after, and something tells me this is going to go bad, so we should go back to Rand Tower and protect Pei and Cork. And Cork is like the little pet dragon that Pei has, and you're like, oh, that's fun. I forgot about Cork. If he was ever in another book, I can't remember. But it's just like, that's cute. I like it. So we cut back to Rand Tower and see that Luke Cage is playing hide and seek, and he's trying to find Pei and Cork, but he can't find them. Or he can clearly find them, but he's just not looking hard enough, so the girl feels good. But the elevator opens, and Lady Bullseye just steps out. She's like, oh, I'm here for the dragon. I'm going to come get it. And instantly, Luke Cage snaps into dad mode. And I'm like, this is what I want, please. Look, there are some things I believe should be staples in Marvel Comics. You know, you should always have a Spider-Man book. You should always have an X-Men book. I will argue with anybody any day of the goddamn week, you should always have a Power Man and Iron Fist book, because those characters are just too cool not to publish. So we see Luke Cage and Pei are about to attack Lady Bullseye and the undead when some more of the undead break through the penthouse like windows, and they start attacking them from all sides. We got our first Sweet Christmas of the book. I guarantee we'll hear more in other issues, but we got one Sweet Christmas so far from Luke Cage. So it just becomes a fight and everyone's attacking each other. Pei's doing pretty good, Luke's doing pretty good. It's looking pretty cool. Lady Bullseye grabs the dragon, but you see that Pei just knocks her out a little bit and wipes her down. Danny luckily comes back in, and so does Fooh with like a big old school cannon looking thing. They start taking apart some of the undead, and they have to retreat because Lady Bullseye's pissed because Taskmaster was supposed to kill, Iron Fist, but he didn't because he sucks. I like it. I really like the Pei and Danny Rand relationship. I think there's something really cool and interesting about those two. It's kind of like the two orphan heroes coming together to like become a pseudo family, which it's a trope you see all the time, but it works really well here for these guys. I like it a lot. So Luke's like, okay, you want to tell me what's going on here, Danny? Because some zombie just attacked me. So this is kind of like Danny's laying down what the rest of the story is going to be. So the 7 cities, there's like damage happening all over the world. We have to go to them and protect the remaining dragons before something bad happens. And Luke Cage is like, okay, let's do it. I'm on board for this shit. I'm going down. Like, I got to get some payback for Lady Bullseye there. And as they're having a conversation, some weird gust of cloud energy just shows up. And they're all looking at like, what is this? It's a power from heaven. And we see that it is... how would you say that name? Kuan Yin, I think is how you would say it, and she's the mother of mercy. But she's like, yo, Iron Fist, the tiger's daughter is slain and her dragon was killed, so we gotta move fast if we're gonna protect the rest of the cities from stuff like this happening. Like everything, the balance of everything, the great balance, everything in the world, it's in peril because the dragons are dying. So we gotta go and stop that from happening, because we need the help of the Iron Fist as heaven burns. And I'm like, this is dope. This is dope. I want more of this stuff, please. Give me more of this stuff. I want an Iron Fist book all the time. I'm so glad we're getting one now. Like I said at the beginning, Larry Hama, a writer I thoroughly enjoy. I think he's fantastic and interesting. I'm glad he's doing an Iron Fist book here. This was a really cool premise, really intense, really interesting. It grabs you right away. You're like, okay, here's Danny. We're going right into the story. We have to protect the dragons. There's nothing more to it than that. Here we go. Here's Luke Cage. Here's Pei. Here's Fooh. Here's all the characters in the current Iron Fist lore that we need. Let's just move on and tell our story. The artwork is pretty cool. It's not my favorite artwork, but I think it works for the most part in the style it's going for. It's kind of got that mix of like the immortal Iron Fist and Iron Fist the Living Weapon. It's like right in between that somehow. And I think it looks pretty cool. I love this new look for Danny. I think it should stick and last because you should always have that popped up collar for him. And I like this one a lot. I like this a lot. Am I a little biased because I'm such a big fan of Danny Rand? Maybe. But I also think if you have never read a Daniel Rand book before, if you don't know anything about Iron Fist, it's an alright place to start because it's going to give you all like the big lore stuff, and you'll probably get some more about his history as the book progresses, but it's a good place to start, and I think a lot of people will enjoy it. So, Iron Fist, Heart of the Dragon, I am going to give an 8 out of 10. Now, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, Patreon, Twitter, all that good stuff. And I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.